You know, it seems like the world, especially the Western world, is becoming increasingly right-wing. You know, this has been the hope. It's what I've been banking on. It's what I've been talking about forever. I usually describe it as the cultural pendulum swinging. You could call it the political pendulum, whatever it is. It takes some time. Well, it seems like we're finally at that inflection point. We're finally at that point where it's turning and starting to go the other direction. Or where, rather, gravity's starting to take hold, to take place, and it's starting to swing back against its initial momentum. And really, for me, what really drives that point hard is the independence and the moderate. You know, the example we're using today, Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, for instance, two individuals who I honestly perceive as left-wing. Yet nowadays, when you hear them talk, it's essentially like listening to two conservatives. It's a conservative shift. Our ideas are winning. And now it seems like many people who might have been on the fence, many people who were giving leftist ideology the benefit of the doubt, well, they have shifted completely, becoming 100% anti-woke and coming to the same realizations as us. And today's realization, Elon Musk and Joe Rogan realize that the left, or the woke left especially, has become, I think, what can only be described as a death cult. I think it's a perfect term. In fact, I think it describes the situation a whole lot better than I've described it in the past, although very similar. I want to show you guys what they said. I want to delve into that idea. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So here's Elon Musk and Joe Rogan discussing left-wing cities, particularly San Francisco, how woke ideology has infested these places, and they describe the whole thing as a death cult.
It's a, I mean, I don't want to be melodramatic, but it's almost like a death cult.
It's a death cult. No, that is exactly right. It's essentially the extinctionists. Like, it's in the limit, it is that they're propagating the extinction of humanity and civilization. And there's some people who are like, most of the time it's implicit. They don't but sometimes it's explicit. Like, there was a guy on the front page of the New York Times who literally has the thing called the extinctionist movement, and he was quoted on the front page of the New York Times as saying, there are 8 billion people in the world, but it would be better if there were none. Ooh. And I'm like, well, buddy, you can start with yourself.
Yeah. Does he have friends? That's what always fascinates me.
If you've walked around downtown San Francisco, right near the ex-FK Twitter headquarters, it's a zombie apocalypse. I mean, it's rough. Have you been in that area?
Not lately. No.
Yeah.
I've heard.
It's crazy.
I've heard it's crazy. I've heard you really can't believe it until you actually go there.
You can't believe it until you go there. So now you have to say, well, what philosophy led to that outcome? And that philosophy was being piped to Earth. So, you know, a philosophy that would be ordinarily quite niche and geographically constrained, so that the sort of the fallout area would be limited, was effectively given an information weapon, information technology weapon to propagate what is essentially a mind virus to the rest of Earth. And the outcome of that mind virus is very clear if you walk around the streets of downtown San Francisco. It is the end of civilization.
You know, I don't call George Soros Mr. Palpatine for no reason. It is the perfect word to describe it, a death cult. Elon Musk even goes as far to claim that George Soros, quote, fundamentally hates humanity and wants to erode the fabric of civilization.
I mean, Soros actually, you know, he is, I believe, the top contributor to the Democratic Party. The second one was Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah. So, and Soros, I don't know, I mean, he had a very difficult upbringing, in my opinion, he fundamentally hates humanity. That's my opinion.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, well, he's doing things that erode the fabric of civilization. You know, getting DAs elected who refuse to prosecute crime. That's part of the problem in San Francisco and LA and a bunch of other cities.
And I think that's a great way to put it. You know, I tend to describe leftist ideology as hateful, angry, selfish, of course, all under the guise of compassion, unity, love, and care, but I think the words death cult basically make the exact same point. The ideology itself is so hateful, so backwards, so angry, vindictive, divisive, and the policies themselves are so destructive, there's no other way to describe it. You know, it's a downward spiral of self-destruction. It's like seeing a family member get into drug addiction or other extremely destructive behaviors and end up either ODing or ending up in prison for life. That's what happens when you go down this downward spiral of misery, depression, no accountability, blaming everybody else for your problems. letting your emotions, letting anger guide you, you will end up destroying yourself. Essentially, what we're seeing as a political ideology of the woke radical left is that exact same thing. It's that exact same type of self-destructive behavior on a larger community-style scale. There's no other way to describe, the scenes that we see in San Francisco. How else could you possibly describe it other than an environment of self-destruction? It's like there's no care in the world. Standards are out the window. It seems like the only standard is that there are no standards. There's no accountability. There's no responsibility. There's just hedonism, excuses, crime, violence. Everything is justified. It is pure chaos. And it's not just the physical destruction. Places like Skid Row and others, just deteriorating environments, buildings being boarded up, looted, ransacked, burnt to the ground, whatever it is. The destruction is one thing. The physical destruction isn't even the worst part. Honestly, it's not even close. The worst part is the destruction of basic values. That's why leftism, personally, for me, this is my ideology, this is my opinion, is a disgusting ideology. And I really believe and stand by that. Modern leftism, to me, is revolting. A lot of it, frankly, makes me sick. Because essentially what leftists have bought into is that all the traditions, all the standards, all the important values, especially family values, cultural values, personal values, that created the West in the first place, that created all the beauty that we have around us, what we built our institutions on, what we built our government, our education system, initially at least, lefties want to throw it all away. And for me, that is cultural destruction. They want to destroy our history. They want to rebrand it. They want to brand it as to be forgotten, to be discarded. Focus on the negatives of the past and essentially cancel history while completely omitting all of the positive that led to the Western world becoming a beacon of freedom, democracy, and individual rights in a world that at the time was a dark place for many. They want to destroy the family unit, labeling traditional gender norms as part of the patriarchy, something that should be abandoned and discarded. And what are we getting? Sky-high divorce rates, children growing up without family, a lost sense of community. We're getting nothing but negative. Standards when it comes to premarital sex or safe sex in general, and being a responsible adult, fulfilling your societal duty of fathering and mothering the next generation. They want to destroy that too. Values of individualism, hard work, responsibility, being a productive member of society. They don't want anything to do with it. They want government handouts, increased government jobs, more dependence, more reliance, and less work. Essentially, they want to destroy the value of hard work. For me, it's an ideology of misery, destruction, jealousy. In other words, as Elon Musk and Joe Rogan agreed and described, a death cult. Anyways, I think I made my point. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.